While we study what we think will protect us, our oppressors study instead what they know will mentally enslave us. Wake up. Stop following the herd mentality of the ignorant and mentally enslaved black masses. What oppressive forces have turned our culture upside down through the science of the herd mentality? The herd mentality is the tendency for people's behaviors, beliefs, customs, and cultural norms to conform to those of the group they belong to, regardless of how ridiculously absurd those norms and customs may be. The absolute truth is that there's nothing intelligent, correct, nor beneficial, or even normal about self-identifying ourselves by the N word, calling our women by the B word, glorifying pimps, sagging our pants, worshiping the false god of our ungodly oppressors, nor from getting our morals from a book written by our most immoral enemies. These noted idiotic practices that far too many of our people have normalized are the deliberate result of negative social engineering of the African American culture by white oppressive forces. While we studied our Bibles believing that it contains the true words of God that will protect us, white oppressive forces studied instead how to hijack the group minds of large targeted populations through their monopoly over information and media images that the targeted population receives. White social engineering scientists have thoroughly researched how to covertly steer the collective minds of the black population through the white society's monopoly over information and media images that we constantly receive. This is all possible because people's behaviors aligns with the narratives that they receive about their group, and people often imitates and becomes those derogatory media depictions of their group that they've accepted as being their true reality. Because white oppressive forces writes all of our narratives and controls all of our mainstream media images, they negatively distort them to negatively steer our entire culture. Such as witness when although African Americans have been routinely reporting crime to white law enforcement ever since slavery ended, white media propagandists, however, created the false narrative that most African Americans follows a no snitching policy. Millions of African Americans then accepted that false narrative as being true, and then many stopped reporting crimes, thus negatively affecting our communities. Because what oppressive forces controls our media images, it's actually them that tells our group how our group is supposed to act and dress. They're the reasons why millions of us now are dressing like sagging clowns and acting like ghetto buffoons. This isn't some feeble attempt at scapegoating that attempts to absolve ourselves of our own wrong behaviors by wrongly blaming white people, as so many of you have been brainwashed to respond. It's the absolute truth. What millions of black people naively perceive as being our own created beliefs, customs, and even our own created swagger are actually the result of negative social engineering by white oppressive forces. It's even the reason why millions of us now speak Ebonic. It's also why many black people now believe that to be well-spoken is to talk and act white. That's absolutely BS. Through their monopoly over narratives and media images, white oppressive forces have socially engineered millions of African Americans to perceive ourselves through a false inherent subordinate identity that aids the white society in maintaining its social dominance over us. It's also the reason why most black racially affirming facts are being deliberately withheld from us throughout our entire educational development. We're being secretly socially engineered to think and behave in ways that aids the white society in maintaining its white social dominance and white social capital. over our lives. When it's been done gradually over time, the collective minds of large targeted populations can be easily socially engineered to think and behave in ways that are against their own interests. Even intelligent people can be made to engage in ridiculous behaviors that literally insults their own intelligence when they're unaware of what's being done to them, especially when everyone else around them are also engaging in the same ridiculous behaviors. This is proven by the fact that millions of African Americans now self-identifies by the N-word, called sags our pants, glorifies pimps, and routinely refers to our women by the B word and the H word. White oppressive forces have used hidden social sciences, social engineering tactics to produce negative changes within the African American culture. We Africans that are descendants from enslaved Africans are more susceptible to negative social engineering, given that we've been totally stripped of our true identity and culture during the enslavement of our ancestors. And because the style and customs of African Americans are often imitated by Africans across the world, many have even stated that African Americans are the most imitated Black people on the planet. Therefore, by negatively steering the African American culture, it allows white oppressive forces to negatively influence Africans globally throughout the diaspora, such as witnessed by the fact that nowadays millions of Black people throughout Africa and the Caribbean now are sagging their pants and using the N-word. To summarize, white social engineering scientists thoroughly studied how to control large targeted populations through their monopoly over information and media images that the targeted population receives. It's a system that uses disinformation, misinformation, and distorted media images as weapons to manipulate targeted populations to think and behave in ways that are against their own interests, and instead in ways benefiting those who are deploying the negative social engineering propaganda campaign. They then exploited that gained knowledge to mentally enslave millions of Black people. It's also the true reason why many of us now perceives ourselves as being our own worst enemies and reveres Caucasians in spite of such a brutally horrific history of the contrary. These beliefs that are held by many Black people are the deliberate results of the social engineering of our people. It's the true reason why many of us now perceives ourselves as being our worst enemies and reveres Caucasians in spite of such a brutally horrific history of the contrary. These beliefs, these noted beliefs that are held by far too many Black people to be coincidental, are the deliberate result of the white society's monopoly over the information and media images that we receive, which allows them to socially engineer what we believe and how we behave. It's how white oppressive forces profoundly divided us and shifted Black collective aggressions away from the white oppressive society and redirected it against ourselves. It also produces profound Black self-hatred and disunity, which attacks the core foundation of what bonds us as a people. White social engineering scientists determined in 1968 that as long as we're kept within this described collective condition, we can then be ruled over forever. The white oppressors' social engineering propaganda campaigns provides them with their greatest weapon used against the Black population. It's a weapon of gradual mass destruction. And whenever those of us who knows this truth tries teaching it to the Black masses, we're often told by the Black masses that are mentally enslaved to just shut up and just keep on reading our Bibles. It's how the mentally enslaved ones have been brainwashed to try to keep us all mentally enslaved. They literally function as wardens of our own mental prisons. This is the type of knowledge that they will never teach us within our schools because they don't want us to ever learn of it. It's the truth that our puppet black leaders are not allowed to speak of. Our leaders aren't true leaders, they're puppets. They're only allowed to say what the white side allows them to say. Many black people will have a hard time accepting this disclosure because many have been brainwashed to exclude the white society from all of our analysis regarding our hardships that we now endure, and to instead blame everything on ourselves. Therefore, nowadays, whenever there's an attempt to teach this truth to the black masses, many now experience cognitive dissonance. Cognitive dissonance is a psychological state of discomfort that occurs when people are introduced to information that goes against their indoctrinated belief. If you really believe that our plight is connected to a Bible that was written by our most ungodly enemies, that was also brutally forced upon our enslaved ancestors and then ignorantly passed down to our generation, and if you also believe that our collective condition is caused by a silly slave syndrome myth, which presents what would in fact be the least effective method used for controlling generations of millions of people. If these are your current beliefs, then your intelligence level is exactly where white oppressive forces wants it to be. Because you possess a mind that has been dumbed down and mentally enslaved by the system of white supremacy. A speaker of truth has no friends, and those who know the truth must teach. Brothers and sisters, time to wake up. One love and peace.